Yeah, the negotiations have clearly been going on for a considerable period of time behind the scenes that have led to this, and it has to be a good thing. It has to be progress that some of the hostages are potentially going to be handed over. It's clearly been very difficult to get to this point with international negotiators. The Americans have clearly been intimately involved in the process, but it feels as though it hasn't been easy for the Israelis. Long cabinet meetings yesterday. These are really difficult judgments because when you look at it in simple mathematical terms, 50 Israelis being handed back, 150 Palestinians being released out of jail. There's really difficult nuances in that. I think that the devil's in the detail, and I'm sure all parties won't be resting on their laurels. The logistic details of affecting a handover, maintaining confidence throughout the process will be very, very difficult. I think the military commanders will absolutely understand the necessity. They've been running a twin track military operation. Part of it is about destroying Hamas. The other part is getting hostages back. And getting 50 hostages back will be a great thing for the military commanders. Nonetheless, they will feel they're losing a bit of momentum. It gives them an opportunity, of course, to take stock, get a little bit of rest, bring forward supplies, and just reconsolidate a bit. But of course, it equally gives the enemy, Hamas, the opportunity to do the same. And they will be worried that Hamas will exploit this to reposition, to slip away anybody they want to slip away. And of course, one of the requirements of the agreement was that that Israel wouldn't fly aerial surveillance over Gaza during the period, and that will certainly cause the Israeli military some concern. Although they've got other intelligence methodologies they can use to mitigate that, it will still be a concern to them. This is all about faith and confidence, isn't it? And we can't pretend there's much faith or confidence between the Israelis and Hamas, and so it doesn't take very much for a ceasefire like this to be compromised. It really doesn't, either because genuinely one side feels that bad faith has been displayed, or frankly, because they're looking for evidence of bad faith. They're almost kind of waiting for an excuse. And so it won't take very much. It really, really won't. What is a breach of a ceasefire? It's one side's interpretation. And I doubt very much that they've set out in detail what would constitute a breach of ceasefire. Is it one trigger-happy individual with a machine gun, or is it an airstrike? Where's the boundary point on that? It'll come down to judgment, and that those who've negotiated the ceasefire will hope very much that cool heads prevail, because there'll be high stress through this process. The Palestinians haven't even identified which Israeli hostages will be handed over, in part because they're not in control of some of them. They're held by other militia groups. So there's a huge amount to play out, and there'll be considerable jeopardy throughout what is set to be a 4-day process.
We are at war, and we will continue the war until we achieve all our goals to destroy Hamas, return all our hostages, and ensure that no entity in Gaza can threaten Israel.
Mr. Netanyahu really clear this is not the end of the war. It is a pause to exchange hostages in the case of the Israelis, prisoners in the case of the Palestinians. Of course, the negotiators will want it to be the stepping stone that then leads towards a extended ceasefire and a peace process. But you can see why the Israelis wouldn't buy into that. They've been really clear what their military objective is, which is the elimination of Hamas. They cannot even begin to have claimed to have eliminated Hamas yet. They've certainly caused some attrition to Hamas, but there's no way their stated military objective is close to being achieved yet.